Hey yo, what is up guys, Omni here, aka Chant, and today I want to give you a small update on some of the RB combos I came up with. The reason for that is the upcoming release of the legendary modern decks, which we soon will have in the TCG, and with that we will finally get a release for Striker Ace Camellia. And what it does, it allows for pretty stupid stuff if you pair it with RB and Striker, which are two engines that synergized very well already in the past, but now it gets even better, hence why I want to show you some of the combos I came up with. And what you can see here right now is a small draft of a deck list I made, and I'm not going to call it the best way or the most optimized or the correct way to play this deck, but I really want to test it out once we get the release, so I can actually play it and see if it actually does what I want it to do, because the concept of the deck is just to extend into oblivion. And let me explain how and why. Let's check out Striker Ace Camellia first before we go into the first combo, because her effects are very important and the special summon requirements too. So as you can see, this card says it needs nothing else than 2 effect monsters, which essentially translates to us that any 2 monsters on our field can go into Striker combos, and as we know, Striker is a bridge into RB. So we have a way to gain access to Striker cards, which are very good at generating advantage. It also allows to get some breaker cards to interact with the opponent's board if we are going second. This card, special link summoning this card alone, is a threat already, and our opponent needs to waste resources to get Camellia off the field. And then the effect of Camellia says, once per turn, if you have 3 or less spells in your graveyard, you can send 1 Striker card from your deck to the graveyard. Which, if you know about it already, it just means that you special summon Kagari using the Camellia on field to link summon her, and then Kagari on summon can just pick up the foolish Striker card in our grave and add it to our hand. And then from there we can do whatever we want with it. Also, very quick disclaimer before we go into the combos, because I noticed that I'm showing you the worst hands you can produce with this deck. Keep in mind, we have a bunch of 1-card starters in our deck. Stage Landing is a 1-card starter. Stage Landing is a 1-card starter. Terraforming by getting the field spell is a 1-card starter. Engage is a 1-card starter. And with the following combos, I will just show you how you can turn any hand into RB combo. Don't get paralyzed by me showing you the combos that this is the exact way this deck needs to combo. I'm rather showing you that no matter how you open up your hand, you always have combo. This is the point of the video, so to say. So let's go over the first combo. Let me say a few things here. For this combo, we will just assume we have Radiant Typhoon Chant in our hand. We don't need anything else that you can see right now, just ignore it. Just assume we have Chant in our hand. And the first part of the combo is actually generic, so before we bridge into RB, this combo can be used by any deck actually. And let me show you how to sequence it and what you can do with the Radiant cards. So in the draw phase we shoot off Radiant Typhoon Chant, so we can add a level 4 or lower Radiant Typhoon monster to our hand. We will use it to search Eldam, go into the main phase, and since our opponent has no back row, since we are going first obviously, we can just special summon out Eldam. And Eldam will trigger on summon to add to our hand another Radiant Typhoon monster, which we can special summon by the same condition as Eldam, which then triggers on summon to add to our hand another Radiant Typhoon spell. And here you can either add Radiant Typhoon Chant to our hand or Vision. It doesn't matter which one you take. I think it's more optimal to take Chant, because Vision can draw you cards if you top deck it next turn, whereas Chant doesn't do too much anymore once you burn through your Radiant Typhoon monsters. So what you then do is you link your 2 effect monsters. What a nice special summon condition. You link off 2 effect monsters away to special summon Camellia. Use the effect to dump Engage to the grave. And then, as I said, you just link it off for Kagari, which then triggers on summon to add back Engage. And now we just activate Engage, and now comes the funny part. It's not optimal. You can keep Mystical Space Typhoon in your hand as an interruption, but what you can also do is Engage as Chainlink 1. Now we can Chainlink 2 Typhoon to pop Engage. Once we resolve, Typhoon pops Engage, and now Chainlink 1 Engage resolves. And as you can see, this card says Then if you have 3 or more spells in your graveyard, draw 1 card. Since we are just now resolving Engage, we actually already have 3 spells in the grave, which means we can search for something and then on top of it get a draw. We will search Pill of the Future, since we haven't used our normal summon anymore. As you can see, we can draw. Awesome. Then we just normal summon Pill of the Future, which then, either if it's normal or special summoned, will trigger to special summon Striker Ace Rose from deck or graveyard. And as you can see, we have 2 machine monsters on the field, which just means full RB combo. We link them off for Velkan Booster, which then on summon such as a spell, an RB spell, we will add Funk Dog to our hand, which we then activate, which then also triggers to edge Stage Landing to our hand. We will use Stage Landing, so we can special summon from extra deck or main deck, and we special summon out Lambda Cannon. And before we go over the next steps, let me say this quick. For each RB combo you're using, you need to pay life points. Just keep it in mind. For the showcase of the combos, I didn't subtract or add life points to the combo just to save some time, otherwise I would take months to make the combos, but just keep that in mind. So we have the field spell on the field, Velkan and Lambda Cannon. So here we will use Lambda Cannon, pay 1200 life points, and what we then do is we destroy it, look into our opponent's hand and special summon a monster from him, and the monster will get negated. So this token will represent the monster we special summon from our opponent. And now, because an RB card left the field, Funk Dog will trigger and special summon from the deck. We will special summon out Lambda Blade, which then on summon triggers to Foolish and RB card. We will Foolish Driller here. Then we can use Velkan's second effect to reborn something or to special something from the hand or reborn something from the grave. We will special summon Lambda Cannon again, which then on summon triggers to add something back from the grave to the hand. We will take RB Driller to our hand, and now we just link these two off for Brute Blues. We can use its effect to search something. I will search for a trap here. We will get Last Stand to our hand. Actually, it would be more optimal to get the other trap, just keep it in mind, but we will get both traps anyway. Now we can link off the Rose monster for just any Sky Striker link monster, doesn't matter. All we want to do is turn them into machine monsters. Now we can use Pill of the Future in the grave, banish it for a cost, so we can special summon out Rose a second time. And now we have 3 monsters on the field, which means we can special summon out Shepherd's Crook. We can use its effect, so we can set the other trap, as I said. And we have nothing but RB monsters in our hand, which means we can special summon out Driller for free again. Now we just special summon it, pay 500 life points, so we can destroy the opponent's monster we special summoned. And we can actually protect its destruction with Stage Landing in the grave, which is not an effect that triggers. On resolution, we just banish it, and it just goes over like that. Now we can set our both traps, and we have perfect setup. We have full RB combo, we have knowledge of our opponent, and if you didn't know, we have a lot of interactions here. Shepherd's Crook allows you to special summon from the grave during your opponent's turn. We have a way to special summon out from the extra deck or the main deck for the extra interruptions. On top of that, we have a monster negate in the form of a counter trap, which is pretty strong. And let me see if we played it out here. No, we didn't. I will show you another combo how we play out this during our opponent's turn, but this is like the basic cookie cutter combo you need to follow in order to play RB Sky Striker perfectly. For the next combo, let's just assume we have Sky Striker Engage in our hand. What we will do is we will add Hornet Drones to our hand, use Hornet Drones to generate the token, then we link the token off for Kagari, add back Engage to our hand. Engage will add to our hand Pill of the Future, and we haven't used our normal summon yet, so we can just normal summon him. Pillar will special summon out Rose, and if you paid attention, we are at the same board state as in the last combo, so we will just do the exact same thing. Let's go over it. Link those two off for Velkan. Velkan adds the field spell. Field spell will add Stage Landing to the hand. Then we activate it, go for Lambda Blade. Lambda Blade will look into your opponent's hand and special something, Field Spell will trigger and special something from the deck, Velcan revives, Lambda Cannon adds something back, we link our stuff off. For Brute Blues, add the trap, use Pillar, generate bodies, link them off for Shepherd's Crook. Then again, we can then pop the opponent's monster on the field with Driller and banish Stage Landing to prevent its destruction on the field, set our traps, and then I will show you how we play this combo out during our opponent's turn, because if you're not familiar with the RB cards, you might say this board doesn't look good at all. But keep in mind, we have knowledge of our opponent's hand. He will draw one card for turn, which is an unknown, so we have perfect game knowledge. I showed you already how you get to this part here, how to establish the combo on this board, but I also want to show you how you play it out correct. To save some time, let me just say something very little about this. You can also sequence it differently, so you have Driller in the grave, and instead of him on the board you have Lambda Blade on the board, which is a little bit better in my opinion. But this is just comboing in a vacuum without an opponent. Usually your opponent will have 1 or 2 hand traps, and then you just need to actually know what the cards do and how you can play it out, which is more important than anything. But what you should take away from it, you can use any 2 monsters, get into Camelia, get into RB, and any RB starter on top of that trades perfectly well with any hand trap. So you should have no issues coming to a board state at least similar to this. And let me say another thing quick. If you're cut off from getting both traps on the field, you will always try to get next phase to the field, and what you will do during your opponent's turn, you will probably special summon out Lambda Blade anyhow, and he will still trigger to foolish something on summon, and then during your opponent's turn you will send Last Stand to the grave, just for the reason that when it's your turn again, this card in the graveyard is protection for your RB monsters. Keep all of that in mind if you play the deck or trying to play this deck. But let's assume we did the combo and then we pass to our opponent. The first thing we do in the draw phase, before anything happens, the moment we get priority to activate something, we will use Last Stand, and then we will special summon out Cutter from our deck to the field. Why is DB lagging? Yeah, I'm sorry guys, let's wait a second. Okay, we special summon out Cutter. So what we have here right now is Shepherd's Crook, which can special summon from the grave. We have Cutter, which is a spell or trap negate, and we have Driller that can pop a monster on the field. So depending how your opponent and the first card he's activating, it will sequence out differently. But the main takeaway is you just want to get one of these into the grave. Not as fast as possible, of course use those cards correctly for the right cards to negate them or pop them. But let's assume our opponent special summons a monster, for example. We can use Driller to destroy the card, and then we have the chance to use Funk Dog to special something from the deck. But as you can see, all our interruptions are in the grave. So what we will do instead is we are not using Funk Dog, we will use Shepherd's Crook on resolution of Driller being destroyed and the opponent's monster. And then we can take Driller, put it back to the deck, Lambda Blade, put it back to the deck, and then we can special summon out Lambda Blade. So here what you can do is then use its effect. This should be the next step, to target a monster your opponent controls. So once he special summons again, you can target it, destroy Lambda Blade, and then take control of the opponent's monster. Just put it into any zone that is not a linked zone. So once your opponent is attempting to use the next effect, you can use Next Phase. And what Next Phase allows is to negate the monster effect of your opponent, but on resolution you need to destroy a card. So since we snatched something from our opponent, we can just destroy the opponent's monster in order to fulfill the effect requirements to negate the opponent's monster effect. Then we still have the Cutter left, and by any point we have Funk Dog to trigger, which then allows us to special summon Lambda Blade again, and Lambda Blade will add something back from our grave to our hand, which is just follow up. Let's say we add Cutter, it doesn't really matter. If you used, for example, Driller's effect to destroy something in the extra deck monster zone, we actually on top of everything have Rose to special summon her, which then has the effect, while this card is in the grave, you can special summon this card, then you can negate the effect of one face-up monster your opponent controls. So, as I said, if you pop something with Driller, you also on top have Rose to negate something. It's a very niche interaction, just have it in mind. She's in the grave already, regardless how you combo, maybe it will come up for you. Let's go over the next quote-unquote combo. It's not really a combo, I will just show you why Camellia is so good in this deck. We have a bunch of RB monsters that say you can special summon them for free if you have nothing on the board or just RB monsters. And what this means is if you have, for example, a hand trap and an RB monster, you can just special summon it. And then you just normal summon the monster on top of it, so you can link it off for Camellia. Dump Engage, link it off for Kagari, add Engage to the hand. Use Engage, get Rose to the hand, and then we can link off Kagari again for any Sky Striker monster. So Rose will trigger to special summon her out. Then we can link it off again, and since we have two machine monsters on the field, we can just get Vulcan Booster out and we have full combo already. So in actuality, it just means that we cannot brick with RB anymore. Of course, we have to special summon a lot from the extra deck. That's the trade for it, I guess. I think otherwise... no, it's not too broken. Actually, it would be nice if we would have a cleaner way. There is a little bit of a cleaner way, I will show you on top of that too. Let's just see how it plays out. Yeah, we just have RB combo by using the Sky Striker cards with any two cards in our hand, to be exact. And this is also the reason why I want to add the Radiant cards to the hand, because the first thing you can do is you can special summon the RB monsters, then you can normal summon a hand trap if you're very desperate, or you just special summon out the Radiant monsters for free. So everything extends, and then we just link everything off for the Sky Striker cards. This is the reason why I think it's good to play out the deck the way I showed you earlier in this video. Let's go over the other way to convert those cards. For the next combo we will need the same setup, but on top of everything a spell card in the hand we are willing to discard. Let's assume we open up like that, going first. Before Camellia was released, you would look at it and say, pass the turn, but now we still have full combo. And instead of going into a bunch of link summons, like in the last combo I showed you, we have a much cleaner way since we can just discard something. We link those off for Camellia, Camellia Foolishes for Engage, we go into Kagari, Kagari adds back Engage. And since we have a spell we are willing to discard, we can just add Pillars of the Future to our hand. And as you can see, we use the normal summon already, so we use its effect to special summon it by discarding the spell. And then we have the same combo again. I think I can look over it a million times. I like this deck a lot, so it doesn't bother me, but I think you get the point already. You can just spam the same combo over and over, and there's like 1 million ways to get it. It's technically almost impossible to brick with this deck, or to hard brick, sure. Under Fuvolos it's not the best way to combo off, but you can still combo. It's better than not getting into the game at all. And you might think, oh, you don't have an RB monster on the field, it doesn't matter. In the draw phase you shoot off Last Stand, special something out, and since we have those in the grave, we can just revive something with Shepherd's Crook again. It plays out the same way as I showed you earlier. So let's round it up here, let's discuss the deck list a little bit further now that you saw the combos. So the most important thing about Camellia is not actually the way it discards sequences or how you get an extra draw with Engage. The real power of Camellia is something else entirely, and I think I put a lot of emphasis on it already. It's full combo with any two monsters, it doesn't matter what kind of combination. If you have two RB monsters, full combo. If you have an RB monster and a hand trap, full combo. If you have 1 RB and a Radiant card, full combo and even more. If you have 2 Radiant monsters, full combo. If you have a hand trap and an RB card or a Radiant card, full combo, just everything. You look in your hand and then you're like, ah yeah, that's full combo. Just take any 2, full combo. Take anything that is not the trap or Called by the Grave. Full combo. You get the point, right? Camelia is a little bit silly in regards to that. Everything just says full combo. Activate talents, draw full combo. Since it's 2 cards, right? Haha, so funny. You get the joke. When you're going first, the Radiant Typhoon cards are just nice extenders, since they are just extra bodies. You can hold MST in your hand if you need the interruption. Let's say you're going into game 2 or 3, you already have matchup knowledge there, then you can just hold the MST instead of going for a draw. And as I said, everything should keep expanding into getting more bodies on the field to extend even further. Let's go over the going second scenario for a little bit. In theory, if you're going second, you can hold your worst starter in your hand, and the worst starter in your hand also resembles some interaction on top of that. Let's say you open up Sky Striker, Radiant and RB stage landing. You would just start with, let's say you have also on top of that a RB monster. You special summon the monster. Your opponent is like, okay, right. You special summon then Sven, for example. If he's not getting rid of the body and only negates the effect, you already got something out of your opponent already, some of his resources. Then you have 2 bodies, you can link them off for Camelia. If he doesn't deal with Camelia, you get engage access. If he does engage with it, okay, then you look at your hand, you have a Sky Striker card, then you just drop the Sky Striker card, and then your opponent needs to interact with it, because if he doesn't, you can just add Widow Anchor to your hand, and you already have... No, you don't have a spell, but like, you get Widow Anchor to your hand and can deal with the board again, so he really needs to interact with it again. And then you just trade your cards, and then at the end of everything, you just activate Stage Landing, or Thrust and search Stage Landing, which is not even once per turn, and then you just push into the board. This deck, RB with Sky Striker, it already was a really good deck. So it should get even better now. So this is the reason why I want to test out this deck the way it is. I'm just really waiting for the release of the deck, of the legendary modern decks, so I can get my hands on Camelia and play it. Originally, I was planning to make a much bigger video around the release of the legendary modern decks. I was actually waiting for them to arrive and then open them up and make a video. The plan was to cover a lot more things like full deck lists, how to play the decks, possible upgrades, which cards are amazing in the product, what you can anticipate, and what are some other cards to get the best out of the legendary modern decks, so you have that on your radar, because I could totally see a handful of cards that are getting scooped up off the market because of the legendary modern decks, because everyone will get these and then they need upgrades for the deck, so there will be less quantities floating around. And I also wanted to talk about the impact of the product, just on the current state of Yu-Gi-Oh! In general, and give some of my overall thoughts on the game and direction of the game. But since the product unfortunately got delayed for us, I figured I at least share this combo quote-unquote guide for you guys in the meantime. Hopefully you found something interesting here and learned something new, and if anything, have on the radar that Camellia is just such a broken card in my opinion. It's very good. And if you have any ideas, improvements, different builds, or if you would like to try this concept, definitely just let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. And with all of this being said, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.